All right, Eric, the next case I'd like to discuss with you is the Commonwealth versus Caplin case, and that's in your MPTC student guide, and it has everything to do with negligent operation. And if you remember the case roughly, it was an officer made some observations of a vehicle with a woman hanging outside of the window, the passenger side. He made a stop. It was his judgment that the vehicle was being operated negligently. It ended up with a determination that the driver was operating under the influence, and subsequently that was challenged in court. It was challenged on negligent operation. So could you clarify for us, Eric, pretty much what are the elements, what's required for negligent operation?
Sure. So just like OUI, for instance, we start out with operation of a motor vehicle on a public way, but that's where it differs. That last kind of element is where we have to look at something different for negligent operation. So that last element for negligent operations requires that we show that the individual is operating the vehicle in a negligent or reckless manner so that the lives or safety of the public might have been endangered. So there's a lot there, and there's a lot of kind of it's kind of written in a very broad manner,
yes.
You know, that the lives or safety of the public might be endangered. It gives the officer a lot of kind of discretion, you know, and gives the officer a lot of ability to articulate what that could be. So in the cases that we've seen prior, you know, especially in the past few years of legal updates, we've seen the Teixeira case come out where this individual was driving substantially, I think it was below the speed limit.
It was, yes.
He was driving erratically, and he actually was driving with a cell phone like directly in front of their face. So that was found to have been negligent operation. We also had the Ross case where an individual was driving, was speeding. It was a kind of like a small road that was lined by fences and trees. It was the middle of the night, and that was sufficient to find that this individual was operating negligently operating. And then one of the other cases that they cited to was the Zagwin case, which was a case where the operator's vehicle had broken equipment, and that was sufficient to establish negligent operation.
So there's very broad. Negligent
Right.
operation is very broad.
Yeah, very much.
It appears to be relying a lot on the officer's opinion.
For sure, yeah, to a degree, right? And what it really comes down to is how well that officer can articulate how the lives or safety of the public might have been endangered. So in all of those cases, the officers were able to substantiate those charges by articulating that element. And the same was true in this case. I mean, when I read this case, immediately I'm thinking, yeah, it's a clear neg op charge. But why? Like, how could the officer articulate that and substantiate that element? And what the court really looked at and what the officer pointed to was the fact that when this girl was hanging outside of the window, she was in a position where she was actually blocking the side view mirror. So that was impeding the operator's ability to see around the vehicle and to operate, you know, in a safe manner. And also the fact that she's hanging out of the vehicle, waving her arms loudly. She's in a position where it's very distracting to the driver. I think we could probably all agree on that point. So her positioning and her behavior were distracting to the driver so that the lives or safety of the public might have been endangered. And that's how they won the case.
Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate that. And officers, you can see once again the importance of being able to articulate the reasons behind your motor vehicle stop. If you can do that, you're going to be successful. Thank you very, very much.